Singapore, a small island city-state in Southeast Asia, is known for its efficient infrastructure, cultural diversity, and economic prosperity. It's a global financial hub and a major trading port, attracting businesses from around the world. The city boasts impressive skyscrapers, lush green spaces, and a blend of modern and colonial architecture. It is considered one of the cleanest and safest cities in the world. It is also the backdrop of one of our favorite movies, Crazy Rich Asians, and was a great place for us to create our own crazy fun week of travel. We're John and Bev, and we are the Retirement Travelers.
If you've been following along, you know that we most recently traveled to Laos, where we took a Mekong River cruise in a slow boat and explored the city of Luang Prabang. We really enjoyed our time in Laos, so check out that video and our blog post on retirementtravelers.com. We have linked our Singapore blog below, so check it out for more information about this visit.
We were so excited to travel to Singapore. Now, Bev had been here before with our daughters, but I'd never been before. But you know what? I have read a lot about it, and I've watched the movie Crazy Rich Asians a bunch of times. So I'm practically an expert. I mean, I even knew that there was a butterfly garden at the airport.
Now, when we came here, we decided let's find all the filming spots that we can. I know it's a weird thing to do, but if you're a super fan like us, it's really hard to not come here and think about that movie. So after checking into our hotel, we walked down Orchard Road. Now, this street is the world famous high-end shopping center with all of John's favorite brands.
Yeah, I'm a Gucci kind of guy.
I thought you were a Ferrari clothing kind of guy. Remember that in Italy?
Yeah, I forgot.
We actually walked it looking for a place to eat, and of course we talked about how there was really nothing on this strip that we could fit into our minimalist life or our minimalist budget. But a lot of people love it because these stores were hopping.
And we found a pizza place. It was called Blue Pizza. Now, this was probably the most delicious pizza we've ever had. The problem is it was also probably the most expensive pizza we had. We're a little bit embarrassed to tell you how much it cost, so let's just say it was an awesome pizza.
It was very good. Yeah. I mean, it really was one of the best, but it was so expensive. You know, Singapore is an expensive city, so if you come here, you kind of need to know that. But it is a city that if you plan ahead and you use it as just a stopover to another destination, you can pretty much see as much as you want in a short amount of time.
Yeah, but the price should not stop you from coming to this awesome place.
Yeah, it's a good place to come.
Now, while in Singapore, we began our day with workouts in Fort Canning Park, and I loved running the stairs there. You know, Fort Canning was also our nearest metro stop, and we used the metro to go everywhere. You know, we were able to get on using our Apple Pay on our phones, and we always love the metros that let us just click our phones and pay. I forget to step on. I gotta put it back on the thing and pay.
We took the subway down to the waterfront where there were several attractions we wanted to see. We started at the Gardens by the Bay. And now this is a 250-acre park that includes several attractions. This area has the iconic super trees that are featured in, you guessed it, Crazy Rich Asians. This is the site of the wedding scene party.
These trees are 84 to 164 feet tall. They're covered in bromeliads, orchids, and vines. They have solar panels which power the lights at night for all the area, and they create a great light and sound show called the Garden Rhapsody. It is quite mesmerizing and a treat to witness.
Yeah, between several of the trees there is a skyway, which is a suspended bridge that allows you to walk between the trees and look down at the surrounding areas. It was a little freaky being on it because it kind of shakes a little as you walk, but I felt safe mostly.
Yeah, mostly. Now, while we were at the Gardens by the Bay, we entered the Flower Dome. Now, while we were there, they had a Dutch exhibit, and we saw so many beautiful tulips and other flowers. It was a fun place to be, and it also smelled pretty good.
You'll recognize this hotel from the movie, too. It's the final scene where they return for the engagement party.
Now, this hotel is really interesting. It was designed by Malay Safety, who designed one of our favorite art museums, Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art in Northwest Arkansas. And we visited this back on our Airstream trip a few years ago. I just think he's one of the greatest architects of all time.
Yeah, the design of this hotel looks like a ship is perched on top of the towers, which seems fitting because at the top you can look down on the harbor and the Singapore Strait filled with ships of all kinds.
Now, we couldn't actually afford to stay down. It's an expensive hotel, but we were able to buy tickets up to the sky deck. You get a great view of the bay and the city, and we of course had to sip on a Singapore sling, which was delicious, and we met a lovely couple from the UK. It was overall a very fun experience.
Another place that we visited in the area was the Helix Bridge. Now, this is a pedestrian bridge made to represent the double helix structure of DNA. It's quite a masterpiece of a bridge. It is also lit up at night and such a cool design. We love bridges, and if you do too, this is a great one to add to a bucket list to see.
We walked across this amazing bridge so we could reach the Singapore Flyer. Now, this is a Ferris wheel that's equivalent to a 42-story building. It has 28 air-conditioned capsules that continuously run. You step on it, as it's moving, and it takes about 30 minutes to make a full circle. And this brought back a lot of memories of our time in the Ain Dubai, which is the world's tallest Ferris wheel, but this was equally as thrilling. It's also lit up at night. I can tell you they sure do love their lights at night here.
They do. Another highlight of our trip, and one we drooled over, was the Newton Hawker Center, or the Newton Food Center. Now, this is also a movie location in the beginning. It is known as the place that even street vendors can get a Michelin star. Now, there are several places here that have them, but honestly, everything we ate was incredible, and in our opinion, they all deserved a Michelin star. We sat with a family who had this inside track on the food scene, and it was just fun to share a meal with fellow travelers.
This food market is open for lunch and dinner, and unlike some of the night markets we visited where the food is hit or miss, this one really attracts the best vendors. We enjoyed some Indian food and other treats as well. We even met a U.S. family that recommended a driver for us in Bali, so stay tuned for that experience as well.
One of the main attractions that we wanted to visit was the Botanic Gardens, and inside those gardens is the National Orchid Garden. Now, our friends in Florida know we are not only super fans of Crazy Rich Asians, but we're also super fans of orchids.
Yes, we are.
When we lived there, we planted over 100 orchids for our neighbors to enjoy on our walking trail, and it made for some great memories. But our efforts pale in comparison to these gardens. They have over 1,000 species of orchids and over 2,000 hybrids.
There were so many orchids there, it's almost like it was orchid overload, if there is such a thing.
That's not a thing.
Not a thing.
No. But seriously, if you're in Singapore, be sure you stop by the Orchid Garden. I mean, it's one of Singapore's finest treasures, and we're sure you will enjoy it. We will leave you today with a few views from the garden, and we hope you enjoy.
And we'll see you next week in Bali.
See ya.
Like a songbird singing in a coal mine, you're the neon rainbow in a sky of gray, and when the storm thunders and the clouds open up wide, honey, you're the madman dancing in the rain. You are the songbird singing in the coal mine, you're the neon rainbow in a sky of gray, and when the storm thunders and the clouds open up wide, honey, you're the madman dancing in the rain. Oh, honey, you're the madman dancing in the rain.
Be sure to hit subscribe and follow along on our retirement journey around the world.